Hello, my name is Dr. Brie-Anna Willey, and this is my channel, Business for Nerds. Today, I would like to talk to you about my journey in building a private practice and the steps and keys I discovered along my path. I wanted to clarify that this is not legal or accounting advice, but the steps that worked for me. Part one will involve steps toward building a private practice, and part two, how to maintain and grow a private practice. I also wanted to add that this may not cover every step that might be needed. Each practice is unique, each individual is unique. So, in the beginning, with me, as many of us, I was inspired to study psychology because I noticed the struggles of others. When I took my first psychology course, I was hooked. I then chose to major in psychology. I also took a course that helped me fine tune my career goals. I took some career assessments and then worked towards and obtained my master's in rehabilitation and mental health counseling. I continued working but started to realize my dream of opening a private practice. Through this process, I had several mental health or human service jobs. I've worked as a case manager, a rehabilitation counselor. Then, after obtaining my license, I started my private practice while also working for other counseling and psychology private practices. Another important part of moving forward for me was my faith. I often prayed for wisdom and guidance on which steps to take. I listened to a lot of Joyce Meyer and I followed her guidance to do it afraid, as she talks about in her videos and her show. I often didn't know which steps to take, but I kept moving forward. She also says, God can't drive a parked car. So here are the steps that worked for me. I determined why I wanted to start a private practice and my business vision. If you are applying this step, it may include who do you want to help? What are the steps to helping them? This may also involve selecting a niche. Step two, I also weighed the risks and benefits of starting a business. These can include an ebb and flow of income, slow time, stress, etc. Talking to other local counselors about their strengths and struggles in business might be helpful in preparing and managing. Also, step three, I selected a business name. Some things to consider are, do others have similar business names? Do I want to eventually trademark this name? The uniqueness of your name might impact you in the long run. Searching the Division of Corporations and searching to see if there are similar names across the US might also be beneficial. Step four, after brainstorming my business vision, I created a business plan. This does not need to be perfect and can be edited over time. You can search for examples to help guide your plan. Step five, I selected a business type, such as sole proprietor, PLLC, LLC, partnership, or another type. If considering LLC or PLLC versus sole proprietorship, you might check the local requirements for professionals. Also considering that if you start as a sole proprietor and credential with insurance and then later switch to an LLC or PLLC, you will likely need new insurance contracts. Contacting a legal professional may be helpful in determining the business type for you, and a good accountant and accounting software are also very important. Step six, I researched local business requirements and the local division of corporations. To start a business in your location, you might need to obtain approval. You will likely need to register your fictitious business name with the Division of Corporations, or if you're starting an LLC, you would search for similar names to make sure yours is unique and register your LLC with your business name. Step seven, I obtained an EIN from the IRS. I believe you can also obtain this before you register your business with the Division of Corporations. Though again, check with an accountant or legal counsel. Once you obtain this, you can update the business registration with the Division of Corporations with the EIN number. I also obtained a good accountant, as I said, who helped me with some of this. Step 8, I determined if I wanted to provide online services in person or both. I started with in person and eventually transitioned to being completely online. My work life balance has improved tremendously with this decision. Step 9, setting policies to protect your business and obtaining liability insurance is highly important as well. There are multiple options available for liability insurance. Building a good consent form or forms are very important as well. I first sought its help with my mentor and eventually purchased some forms as needed. Step 10, I obtained a business address and mailing address. I would recommend at least obtaining a separate business address to protect your home address. This can be more costly, but then clients do not see your home address. Sometimes other private practice owners allow new counselors to sublet from them and or use their business address. You can also sign up for an electronic health record. Again, there are many options available. Reading reviews, seeking help from other counselors can help you make a good decision with that. Step 12, I determined if I wanted to accept insurance, private pay, or both. There are pros and cons for each payment method. If you select to sign up to accept insurance, you can seek help with credentialing or credentialing yourself. There are a lot of nuances to accepting insurance. I would recommend asking local professionals about their experiences with insurance. Also, each location is different in terms of insurance that are available to credential with. Step 13, I obtained a national provider identifier for accepting insurance. I eventually also obtained an NPI-2 for my group practice. Step 14, marketing your business. There are many options available here, such as obtaining a website, a business Facebook page, Instagram, email marketing, etc. I found that a mixture of marketing outlets worked for me. Networking with local professionals was very helpful as well. I found that specific training in a specific area and then marketing that niche was also very helpful. Step 15, of course, accepting your first client once you feel ready. Step 16, build your business and revise your business plan as needed. I often had to revise what I was doing as the business grew. This leads us to how to maintain and grow a private practice. The first key I discovered was mentors and teachers were important to drive me towards my vision. I've had many great mentors along the path. I've been trained by excellent supervisors and internship supervisors, and they are a huge part of who I am today, and they helped me fine-tune my skills and navigate ethical dilemmas. Having great mentors and teachers helped me build my vision of who I wanted to be. That is one key I discovered in that we need to surround ourselves with kind, supportive, and encouraging people who are in the field we are working towards. I believe this helps us build our visions and find our unique paths. I also started networking. Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. It's important to spend time with people who are working towards a similar vision. We strengthen each other, we build each other up. Now, networking was difficult for me because I am introverted. I had to push myself out of my comfort zone and connect with other mental health professionals. However, through this, though it was scary, I was able to build good connections and we started referring to each other. The great thing about networking is that word of mouth is truly the best advertisement. If someone knows you and your heart, they are more likely to recommend you and you them. Also, if their practice is full, they can refer people to you and you them. I went to a net networking meeting with yoga. I went to dinners. I got coffee with other counselors. I started Facebook groups. There are so many options. You could also start your own virtual networking meetings. Another key was finding my marketing strategy. My private practice was tiny at first. I had one client. Making growing your business your full-time job is important. I began joining different groups, gathering books and materials to teach me how to market my private practice and to grow. I searched for free guidance first because I did not have much money to invest in my business yet I still found valuable information with different Facebook groups, podcasts, YouTube videos. I immersed myself in studying other successful practice owners and their guidance. I started advertising on my free Facebook business page and Instagram. I created a website. I started blogging. I was able to build SEO myself by adding good keywords for search engines and creating links to my website from Google. Another key, finding my business passion, my niche. I Other things I worked on included making it a point to continuously learn. I decided I needed more information than the master's degree provided and decided to obtain a doctorate in the mental health field. Now, I know this path is not for everyone. A doctorate is not needed to be a successful counselor in private practice, but for me, I felt it was needed. Over time, I found my niche through learning more and more. My niche is trauma, depression, and anxiety. In my doctorate, I studied trauma. I chose this as my focus. I also began working on obtaining EMDR certification, and I am currently working on this. This leads to the third key, to find your passion in the field and pursue this. Over time, you can change this and learn new things. This keeps your interest fresh. Key four, determine how you will be paid, as I talked about earlier. Another part of private practice involves deciding whether you want to accept insurance and setting your fees. In the beginning of my practice, I chose to do both and take insurance. For those insurances I do not accept, I take private pay. I'm currently reevaluating this decision and considering private pay only due to difficulties with working with insurance. I was also doing a lot of tasks for free in the beginning, and I had to learn to set boundaries around this, as discussed in Key 6. Key 5, reevaluate your business strategy. I think that as our counseling businesses grow, we can then evaluate which systems or services are working and which ones are not. Last year, after several glitches occurred, I had to reevaluate my electronic health record. I tested out several. It was a lot of work to transfer all of my files over, but it was worth it in the end, as now my practice is running more smoothly. I believe a good EHR is essential. Boundary problems. As my business grew, I began receiving emails and calls during the evening when I needed to rest. The material discussed in counseling could also sometimes intrude into our lives. Also, some clients were emailing into the late hours of the evening and asking for free counseling in between meetings. Over time, I started feeling exhausted and did not quite understand what was happening to me. I began researching my experiences and came across several resources, such as the book Trauma Stewardship by Dernoot Lipsky and Burk, 2009. I also began realizing that other counselors were experiencing the same kind of problems, such as burnout, compassion fatigue. Eventually, I realized I wanted to study this and how to help counselors. I focused my dissertation on counselors in private practice experiencing compassion fatigue. GETS stands for Group Experiential Themes. Here are the results of my phenomenological study. Counselors in private practice reported they were overwhelmed on every side. This included stressors in their lives, stress from business, running a business, feeling exhausted, and worrying about making mistakes. They also struggled with managing their overwhelm and did accept that something was not right. However, they worried about the impact of help seeking, such as struggling with stigma. How would others view their receipt of help? And several worried about help seeking because they experienced insufficient support in the past when reaching out. However, another theme included they did realize they were capable of healing and accepted it was okay to not be okay, realized they needed to self reflect and to take care of themselves. They also realized that they grew from their experiences. So, this leads to key six. Over time, I realized the importance of boundaries in private practice, such as setting work hours, and these work hours are based on my energy level, delegating to an assistant, my phone calls. At one point, I also had a 24-hour answering system. I began only accepting clients mainly in my niche and referring out to other counselors. We cannot pour ourselves out consistently without being refilled. I also had to set aside time for myself to do things that were recharging, such as yoga and time for devotionals. I also learned to say no. As reformed perfectionist and people pleaser, it was difficult at the time to say no, but now I am grateful that I had the courage to say no and accept that not everyone will always like me or what I have to say. I had to learn to charge for letter writing and other tasks. Of course, I cannot charge for writing my notes, but I can charge for letter writing, other tasks. I had to learn to set those rates. Going back to niche marketing, this also really helped me with setting boundaries because I no longer worked in situations that were draining. My ideal client is recharging. I enjoy working with clients who are highly sensitive, who are struggling to build self esteem, and may have been through trauma. Together, we work on their healing and setting boundaries. I really enjoy this work. In summary, I think it's important for counselors to find their passion, set boundaries, work with their ideal client, delegate, and recharge. And there may be other steps that are important based on the individual. Each counselor, each helper is different. Here's a little bit about me. Here's my contact information. I also started a couple Facebook groups for professional coach directory and business vision building. The professional coach directory is for professional coaches trained in health or mental health and offering a variety of coaching services. Business vision building is for all types of businesses to help them grow and thrive. And here are my references. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.